It's 6:45. You're watching the Wednesday edition of Morning News Today here on ANC. Now, the world's largest religious festival is underway in India. The Kumbh Mela attracts millions of devotees from around the globe. It's a Hindu pilgrimage full of color, and it's revered as one of the largest peaceful gatherings in the world. Well, to tell us more, we are joined now live from India by our correspondent, Rebecca Bundhun. Rebecca, a very good morning to you, South African time, and thank you very much for your time. Firstly, we understand it started yesterday, and by the end of it, about 120 million pilgrims would have bathed at the Sangam, which is the confluence of the Ganges, the Yamuna, and the mythical Saraswati rivers. How has it begun?
That's right. It started yesterday, as you mentioned, on Tuesday, and it runs till the 4th of March. On some days attracting tens of millions of people, and ultimately it is expected to attract 120 million. That's a staggering number. It's hard to pinpoint the exact number, but it is believed to be that, and that is understood to probably be the largest gathering of people in the world at one particular festival. Dwarfs something like Hajj, for example, to Mecca. Now, this is a major Hindu festival. It's a pilgrimage which attracts Hindus from India. It also attracts a lot of tourists increasingly. That's something they've promoted this event. It's a very colourful event where you do see these the people bathing in the holy river, which they believe cleanses them of their sins. When it comes to an event with that kind of scale, there's a huge amount that goes into organising that. This year it's held in Allahabad. It's held in there are 4 different locations where the Kumbh Mela is held in India.
Now, Allahabad, you say there's 4 different areas. I'm just wondering, up to 120 million pilgrims are expected to have been there, to have come there by the 4th of March. Now, every day, that means it's millions and millions. Just thinking, where does everyone stay?
It's massive. The numbers are just quite incredible. And when it comes to an event like this, just the sheer amount of organisation that goes into it is a huge thing in itself. So they've had to set up hospitals, for example, banks. They've built bridges. This year, there's been a huge budget that's been allocated to this. The government of the state government of Uttar Pradesh is understood to have allocated some 42 billion rupees, and there's money coming from other sources as well. There are these kind of temporary camps that are built for the event as well. Also, when it comes to something like this, there's a lot of security that has to be put in place. So tens of thousands of security, as you can imagine. Crowd control is a huge issue. In 2013, there was in fact a stampede where several people were killed at one of these Kumbh Mela festivals. So they've really tried to tighten that up this year. But it's an event that's very closely watched by people in India, around the globe. It's a very colourful festival. So there are a lot of interest in the Kumbh Mela that goes on.
Yeah, besides security, I would guess, Rebecca, issues about sanitation would also be an issue to consider. I'm sure the provisions would be made to assist with that beyond safety. I'm talking about sanitation.
Yeah, that's right. That is a concern. And this year they've installed tens of thousands of toilets specifically for this event. This is one of the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, is very focused on improving sanitation in general in India, and wants households in India to have toilets. So this year they've really stepped up those efforts to improve sanitation at the festival, and those have been put in place. Also, interestingly, we're coming coming up to the general election in India that's expected to be held by May this year. And apparently the event really is being used partly as a kind of opportunity for the government to perhaps promote themselves a bit. There are apparently posters of Modi dotted around and so on. So that's quite an interesting factor that's come into into play this year. I mean, the government is a Hindu nationalist government, and of course this is a Hindu pilgrimage. So there is an interesting opportunity there.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch as it develops. Maybe we might talk to you again, definitely, before the end of the Kumbh Festival as the days go by. Thank you very much, Rebecca. That's our India correspondent, Rebecca Bundhun.